Oh.
Hi guys, welcome back to Vibrant Health 101. This is step number 1, and if you watched my introductory video, you probably guessed from my very obvious clue that we're talking about hydration today. So how do you know if this is a problem for you? I've heard it said that the American population's most common nutritional deficiency is hydration. So let's look at the symptoms and compare with your list of symptoms that you made from the introductory video and see if this is a problem for you. So the early signs of dehydration can occur with as little as a 2% drop in your body fluids. Some of these are fatigue, lethargy, anxiety, irritability, depression, cravings, cramps, headaches, and hunger. You probably wouldn't have guessed that hunger is actually oftentimes dehydration. So some of the late signs when your water is reduced by 10% or more can be heartburn, joint or muscle pain, back pain, migraines, fibromyalgia, constipation, and colitis. There's a few more symptoms that don't fit neatly into early or late, and those would be fuzzy brain, bad breath, dry mouth, racing heart, scaly or dry skin or lips, and dizziness. So, this is where I'm going to stick my disclaimer in. I am not a doctor or healthcare provider of any kind, so this is just information that I have gathered that has helped me, and I would encourage you to do your own research, and hopefully this will be helpful to you as well. So our body is composed of 60 to 80% water. This is why we're starting with water. This is our number one step because, for one thing, it is the easiest and most economical way to improve your health. Drinking water is almost free, and it will make the biggest impact right off the bat. So let's talk about what water does within your body. So first of all, obviously, is cellular hydration. Every cell in your body needs water for structure and function. The water will transport nutrients back and forth within the cells throughout your body. Water is composed of a chemical makeup of hydrogen and oxygen. So why do we care about that? Well, hydrogen is used to make hydrochloric acid, which is your stomach acids. If you don't have enough water in your system, you cannot make the stomach acid that you need to digest your food. Oxygen from the water oxygenates all the cells throughout your body and your blood and everything else. Now, if you think about a fire, and increasing the oxygen to your fire is going to make the fire burn hotter and faster. So our body, the energy in our body is like that fire, and it needs the oxygen feeding it. So water will help increase your metabolism and help feed that fire. So let's see. Water also regulates body temperature. It lubricates and cushions your bones and joints. This is something that a lot of people don't realize, that when you're having joint pain or back pain or just aches and pains in general, oftentimes it is dehydration because those bones are getting too close together. They don't have that cushion that the water provides. Another thing water's great for is cellular communication. Say that 3 times fast. If you've ever done that little science experiment in school where you put the electrodes in the water, and you can see that the electrical currents flow better in water because water is a great conductor of electricity. That's why you stay out of the swimming pool when it's a lightning storm, because you don't want to get zapped. But when it comes to your brain and your muscles and all of those different functions in your body, the communication is done through electrical currents. Your brain is actually an electrical machine, really, and you need that hydration to make those connections. We'll talk in a little bit about adding minerals to that because we know that minerals actually increase the electrical connections as well. So, one last thing, and this is the other part of why we're doing water first, is the kidneys and liver need that water to flush out the toxins in your system. So every cell in your body is producing waste every day. You're intaking toxins through pollution, through maybe unhealthy foods, sugars. All of these things produce toxic materials in your body, and that fluid is needed to flush out those toxins. What happens is when you don't have enough fluids, those will sit in your gut and basically leach those toxic chemicals back into your system, so you're slowly poisoning yourself. So that's why this is number one, because we want to get rid of all of that stuff that's just sitting in there, and start the detoxification process with water. Here's another interesting note that most people don't really realize, is that your urine should be clear. It shouldn't really be yellow. Yellow is a sign that it is concentrated, which means that your kidneys are having to work extra hard. So let's see if we can't get that clear for you. Okay, everything that we do uses up water, and unlike camels, we don't store water. So we have to take that in every single day so that our body can use it and then eliminate. Every breath you take, you're expelling moisture. Sweating, you're expelling moisture. Everything you do uses that water. You can actually go weeks without food, but only days without water. Oh, and here's a bonus. If you're lucky, you might be one of the ones who actually loses weight just by becoming hydrated. What happens is your body holds on to those extra fat cells because it can use fats to make hydration for itself just a little bit. So when you're in a dehydrated state, it's clinging to those fat cells for an emergency. What happens is once you get hydrated, it can let go of those, and you might drop 5 pounds in a day or two. So let's hope you're one of the lucky ones. Okay, so how are we going to go about getting you hydrated? A lot of people will say, I'm totally hydrated, I drink juice every morning and then coffee on my break time, I drink pop all day long, so I'm drinking stuff, I'm hydrated. Well, what people don't realize is that those things are actually diuretics. So they are flushing the liquids out of your system rather than putting them in. So other diuretics would be, well, I'll just give you the whole list. So caffeinated beverages like coffee or tea, sugary drinks, especially soft drinks. We're going to talk a little more about those later. Avoid soft drinks. Also juices, which is something people might not realize. Juices are a sugary drink, so they're going to be dehydrating. And, oh, soft drinks, I said. So caffeinated beverages, sugary drinks, packaged fruit juices, soft drinks, alcohol, very dehydrating. And then the last one is ginger or mint teas, which I actually do recommend for their digestive aid properties. But if they are diuretics, you're going to have to compensate for that. So, if you're drinking all these diuretics every day, thinking that you're hydrating yourself, we're going to have to kind of change your mind about that and focus just on pure water. That's what your body needs. It needs the hydrogen, it needs the oxygen, it needs just water. I know that sounds boring, but you will get used to it. Now, you want to be careful with your water that you're getting a pure, clean source. If you have well water, that's excellent. Just make sure it doesn't have contaminants in it. And then tap water, not everyone has the best tap water. You can get a printout from your utility and they will tell you what's in the water. They're testing those things constantly. If it looks like your water's full of contaminants or toxic chemicals like chlorine and fluoride, then find yourself a water filtration system. That's not something that I have researched, so you'll need to do your own research on that, depending on what types of things you need to get out of your water. But there is a variety of those out there and a variety of different price ranges. I just use a Brita filter because our water is actually pretty good. I just try to take out a little bit from the tap water. Also, if chlorine is your only concern, you can actually set your water on the counter overnight, and because it's a gas, it will off gas and be fine by morning. So water, herbal teas are okay. You just want the bulk of what you drink to be water. You want your herbal teas to be non-caffeine, and if they are ginger or mint, you will need to compensate for those. The only other thing that I would have you drink right now is lemon water, because it supports your liver, and we're trying to detoxify here, so it's going to help your liver cleanse out those toxins, and it's also going to balance the pH in your body. So at least 1 glass of lemon water a day. And I will be doing a how-to video on how I do my lemon water. It doesn't have to be complicated. If you just put a slice of lemon in your water, that's fine too. But if you do want to watch the video later and see how I do it, more power to you. So, how much water are you going to need to drink? Now this is the kicker. You are going to drink half your body weight in ounces. So for a 100-pound person, you need 50 ounces of water a day. 200-pound person, 100 ounces of water. And we're going to cap it at 100. So, because anything more than that is just too much. Now you also will need to compensate for those diuretic beverages. If you cannot give up your coffee, you need it to function, and some people do, then you're going to compensate by adding in an extra 1.5 times that amount in water. So say that 100-pound person, they're drinking their 50 ounces of water a day, but they also have an 8-ounce cup of coffee for breakfast. So they're going to have to add an extra 12 to 16 ounces of water for every 8-ounce cup of coffee they drink. So hopefully that's clear. Now, I would say don't drink your water with meals. That will dilute those stomach acids and saliva and make it more difficult to digest. However, I know some people just feel like they have to have something with their meal. Now that could mean either your meals are too dry, or you're not producing enough saliva and hydrochloric acid because you're not hydrated. So until you get to the point where you feel like you can eat a meal without a drink, I would say maybe drink milk, which I hate to recommend. I'm not a fan of pasteurized processed milk, but it does act like a solid in your stomach, which is not going to interfere with your digestion. So that's your choice. You can sip a small amount of water if you need to with your meal, but just keep it small so you're not having problems with your digestion. So how are you going to get all that water in a day? Meet the water bottle. I carry this everywhere I go. I'm just constantly sipping on it all day long, in between meals. Now you can either measure out your amount of water and set it on the counter and just pour out of that jug or whatever it is that you have, or what I do is I fill up my water bottle, and I know that this is 24 ounces, so if I fill this up 2.5 times, I've got my daily allotment of water. It's best to use a glass water bottle because then you're not leaching plastics into your water, but if you can't get glass, at least get a BPA-free water bottle. That's not going to leach BPA into your water. So now you're saying, if I drink all this water, however much is your allotment, I'm going to float away and be in the bathroom every 5 minutes. Well, that's a possibility, and so we're going to talk about a way to get rid of that. So I'm going to introduce you to a little thing called electrolytes. Now, what are electrolytes? So they are a specific group of minerals that, when dissolved in water, conduct electricity, which we talked about your brain electricity and your cellular communication. So it's going to be great for that, but they also help absorb water into your system. If you've ever studied biology, you know about a thing called osmosis, where water and nutrients are pulled back and forth across the cell wall. If you're drinking a lot of pure water and there's minerals in your cells and no minerals in the water is going to pull those minerals out of your cells and flush it out of your body. So we need to add some minerals into the water so there's a balance there, and the water will actually absorb where it's needed. So let me list for you real quick though first what the electrolytes are. So I've got them kind of grouped by what they do. So the first grouping is mainly focused on your bones and muscles, and that is calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. Now calcium and magnesium kind of work opposite each other. They all need to be balanced, however, and this is, let me just put in a little side note here, this is what makes soft drinks so bad for you. They are full of phosphorus, which acidifies your blood. Now you've got a phosphorus imbalance, and your body has to pull calcium out of your bones to neutralize that acid blood that you have. Also, that phosphorus ceases the production of hydrochloric acid, which is how you digest your food. So, just a little side note, stay away from soda. The second group of electrolytes is more concentrated on cellular hydration and circulation. Now this is obviously not technical. There's a lot of crossover with the minerals and what they do, but this is just for simplicity, my little understanding of how they work. So the cellular hydration and circulation minerals are sodium, potassium, and chloride. Now this is why when you eat table salt only has sodium and potassium in it. Or, sorry, sodium and chloride, no potassium. So this creates an imbalance. It creates an imbalance, so your cells are going to pull in extra water to try to dilute all that salt that you've taken in. The sodium and the potassium have to be balanced to keep you from having that high blood pressure. So these minerals are absolutely necessary for the absorption of your water, and here's how we're going to get them into your water. All I do for this size water bottle, I have a coarse natural sea salt. I put in maybe 5 grains of sea salt. So a real salt should not raise your blood pressure the way a table salt would. And you do want to vary your salt types, so maybe one day you use Edmond's, another day you use the Alaea salt, another day you use the pink Himalayan. Now, do be wary of this method if your doctor has you on a low sodium diet. Check with your doctor. I don't want you to do anything that could cause you problems. And so I'm going to give you another method if the salt method makes you uncomfortable. Another way to get minerals into your water is to infuse the water with fruit, vegetables, or herbs. So you can throw in cucumber, strawberries, chopped up, mint, any of that is going to put minerals into your water because fruits and vegetables are full of minerals. And the last thing you can do is go down to the natural food store and talk to the person in the vitamin section, and they can help you find a natural electrolyte powder or liquid that you can put into your water. Now, don't go out and buy Gatorade. Don't use Mio drops. These things are full of sugar, which are actually diuretics. So please stick to the most natural thing that you can find to get those electrolytes into your water. Now, as you're doing this, be sure you're listening to your body and what it's telling you about what you need to do. So, if you eat salt and you get all puffed up and swelled up, or if you're putting salt in your water and you feel like you're retaining the water too much, take the salt out. If you feel like you're drinking and it's just flowing through you and not staying, make sure that you put some sort of minerals into your water, because that's going to be flushing out your minerals that you have already. So one way that you can tell is if you're drinking and drinking and drinking and you're more thirsty, then you're not absorbing that water the way you need to. Another thing is your skin. You can look at your skin, look at it before you start your hydration, and the chiropractor actually described it to me like looking at wilted celery. He told me one time I was dehydrated, and I said, well, how do you know that I'm dehydrated? And he said, well, I can tell by your skin. So when you're dehydrated, your skin gets kind of a shrunken, shriveled sort of look to it. And then once you get hydrated again, it starts to plump up and look kind of dewy and not so dry. So kind of look at these things and determine, am I absorbing the water I'm drinking? What do I need to do? Do I need to add some electrolytes? Do I need to maybe take some out if I'm getting all puffy and swelled up, listen to your body and learn to read those signs. The last thing that you can do to increase your hydration is foods. Fruits and vegetables actually are full of fluid, and so when you eat foods that are full of fluid, it's going to help with that hydration. Try not to overcook meats. Go by the temperature and then let them sit for a few minutes so they reabsorb those fluids. And just kind of be aware. Take a look at your food journal that you made from the introductory video and just kind of notice, you know, am I eating lots of chips and crackers and dry things, or am I eating things that are actually going to help with my bodily hydration? So now we're to the part where we talk about what we're going to eliminate and what we're going to add. The first thing that you absolutely must eliminate is soft drinks. I'm sorry, but they have to go. They are poisonous to your body. The second thing is soft drinks. Soft drinks twice. The second thing is actually sugary drinks. Sugar is dehydrating. It also has to go. I'm not going to make you eliminate your dietary sugar yet, because I know it's a huge addiction. It's super hard to get rid of. If you need something to replace those with and you are interested in kombucha, I would not count it as part of your daily water intake, but if it helps you make the transition, you could start drinking a little kombucha. We're actually going to talk about that in a later video. So do start very slowly with that, because the probiotics in it could cause digestive issues as you begin. So we will talk about that later, but you know, if it will make it easier for you to make that transition, you could do that replacement. So we're getting rid of soft drinks, we're getting rid of sugary drinks, we're getting rid of diuretics as much as you possibly can, and I'll remind you those are sugary drinks, caffeinated drinks, packaged juices. You can continue to drink homemade juices, but those don't count as part of your daily water. And alcohol. So try to eliminate those as much as you can. If you cannot let go of, say, coffee, make sure that you compensate for it. So what are we going to add now? You're going to add your daily hydration, half your body weight in ounces, plus whatever you need for diuretics. And we're going to add lemon water. And then also I would encourage you to at least think about what types of foods you can add to increase your food hydration. So maybe add some oranges and grapes and broth, soup, those kinds of things. So at least start to be aware of those. And then the new techniques that we're going to learn, I will actually do a how-to video later this week for the lemon water that I mentioned, and then I'm going to add into that how to make kombucha, because we will be talking about it in a couple weeks, and it does take a couple weeks to make. So be sure, if you're interested in that, to check back later in the week. Reference materials. So one of the books that I read, if you're interested, it's called Your Body's Mini Cries for Water by Batmanghelidj, and I will try to type that in below because his last name is really complicated to spell. So now we've come to the end. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions or comments or anything that you want to share down below, maybe tell us how it's going for you and what types of things you notice as you start to get hydrated. Hopefully you'll start losing some of those symptoms that I listed at the beginning. And then share this video if there's anyone that you know that could benefit from it. I hope that everyone that needs it will get it. So thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.